everybody. How you doing? Oh Lord, y'all. The one thing I said I did not want to have happen with this damn lawsuit against Candace from the Macrons happened. Didn't I tell y'all? Oh, I knew it. I knew she was gonna take the opportunity to damn weaponize this. I knew it. I felt it coming. I was like, oh no, y'all. Let's take a look at the court docket right quick before we get into some great content. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on your way in. Oh, Lord have mercy. And then hype this video up when it's done. Okay? Yo, this is something else. I knew this shit was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. So, not that I advocate for any attorney feeling as if they have to represent Candace because of her BS and her constant dragging of the state of Israel or Jewish people or Erica Kirk and just anything that she wants to be jealous of for the day. I did not want this matter to be extended or prolonged for any reason. Oh, Lord. Before we get to this, let's give a shout out to all of you all that's coming in. Get some comments right quick. Don't stop. What's going on? It seems as if Candace is out of the country with her family, and Nick F is out of the country also. Nick F. Is that the Fuentes one? Child, he said he was gonna drag Candace and he did nothing. Can't make this up. Oh Lord have mercy. Candace, you trying to flee the country. Well, I mean, once we go over this case, she don't have any motivation to come back next week. Dana Hawk said they're running scared. Hope they get canceled enough for the live. CC said, I almost forgot about the time. It's all good. Francisca, shout out to you. Y'all hit that like button coming in. Shout out to my mod. Shout out to all of you all. Don't stop Dana, CC. I see you all up in here. What's going on, Mindy? How you doing? Poetry Princess. Thank God it's Friday. Everybody speak to everybody. Gigi up in here. Oh, how you doing, honey? I'm doing okay. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all good? It is something else. Saint going. What's going on? Shout out to my moms, y'all. Oh man, this is crazy. This dumb heifer. What's the SPL? What's going on with the SPLC, y'all? I haven't really paid attention to all that's happening, and y'all know I get 1,000 emails and stuff to watch. We're gonna, have our Candace marathon tomorrow as well. But I had to start with this. Ugh, Candace, you dumb coward. Are you going to tell your cult that you are avoiding court at all costs? I'm wondering if she knew that if she kept railing in on, Jews or Jewish persons or the state of Israel, at some point her attorneys would quit and then would more than likely set her up to try to get a continuation. And now I'm wondering if she planned this shit because she doesn't want to go to court. And she's out the country traveling. How convenient. Funny thing is, even if she had the money to just up and go, she knew she had court next week. But I don't try to see what's happening now. So we're in the docket. Case ID number N is in Nancy, 25C is in Candace, -07-194. Y'all see the status here? Case scheduling order. Look what the hell's going on. The motion to dismiss hearing has been rescheduled and continued to June 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the hearing will not be next week on Tuesday. It is June 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All this whole thing did was gave Candace time to delay this damn hearing. Why would she want to do that, you ask? Who knows? Because if she felt as if she had some form of defense, even on the grounds of jurisdiction. Why would she not want this case to proceed forward next week? Why even agree to a reschedule, a continuation? This is absolutely insane. So now that the hearing, she's got what, an extra month, 2 months now? June 22nd? Yeah, that's about 2 months. Let's go down and see what's going on in the activity here. This is some bullshit. Candace does not want to get to the discovery phase. Nothing she's doing is an indication that she wants to get to the discovery phase at all. But you know, the cult members, the candy asses, will swear, oh no, she wants to go to discovery phase, does she? What, file a motion to dismiss? Because that's not necessary. It's not a requirement. It's just an option, but it wasn't a requirement. She could have did an answer and kept living. Nope. This girl does not want to go to court. And I'm starting to believe that she did everything she could to piss off her attorneys just so they can withdraw, just so she can buy herself some time. Because otherwise, this is absolutely ridiculous. And I think, you know, she may have gotten intimidated seeing that the Macron's attorney, their legal team, just exponentially grew by 5 people. Oh, man. Adding on those 5 people must have scared the hell out of her. I don't think her attorneys were ever really shaken up like that. They don't really have a great defense either. But now you pissed them off and you have to get new attorneys. And the exact thing I said, I hope the judge denies, exactly what happened. So you all see the last thing we went over was the notice for the withdrawal of counsel. That was docketed on April 23rd, which was yesterday. And you all see this here. Event continued, rescheduled. So the question is, if they plan on withdrawing, where's the order for withdrawal? Because the judge could deny that, right? But, you know, if it comes down to a matter of this heifer is saying dumb things that's putting our livelihood and safety in jeopardy, and her dumbass cult of brainless morons and bots that just simply do what she say and worship the ground she walk on. They fail to read. They don't care about the safety of others. Even her dumbass is running around here talking about I got sources and contacts, living in Erica Kirk's building, knowing damn well this woman has 2 small kids. They don't care about any of that. So because of her dumb rhetoric, we don't feel safe. We don't feel comfortable representing her. We out this piece, deuces. And now look what's happened. Oh man, I told y'all hit the 4. I said yesterday, hit the 4 if you recall me saying. I really hope that this hearing does not get pushed back. Because that's all Candace and her legal team have been doing is delaying. Oh, we need an extension on word limit and terms and space on pages. What the hell? Now look, motion to dismiss and strike event continued, rescheduled to June 22nd, 2026 at 1 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, Candace, not Utah time. And this was just docketed today. You can't make this up. So I want the attorneys to be safe. I really do. But I wish the judge would have said, no, we're going to have the hearing. And then in the motion to dismiss, strike hearing, we'll also hear the motion to withdraw and go from there. Because the hearing was next week, Tuesday. So you know that this had to be submitted within the last week to the court to get a continuance. And I'm sure it's because the attorneys are withdrawing from her case. And you all see that there. As opposed to the candy ass that said, okay, let's not make this worse. No, they keep doubling down with their dumb shit and letting Erica Kirk live rent free in their heads. And now it's trickled over to her legal team, who've now given her more time for a hearing where they still don't have a point to prove. I mean, really. Their defense was weak either way. So hopefully any other attorney that she tries to hire will tell her flat out, in order for me to represent you, because this is a civil matter, therefore it's my choice, you're gonna have to think about a settlement. We're not gonna go through all that with you. You need to think about a settlement. She out here traveling the country and the world and all this other stuff, but then cry on her YouTube channel about they're trying to bankrupt me. You can afford to travel? I thought you were broke as hell, and I thought Candace was broke as hell, crying about attorney's fees and all this stuff. And yet you keep asking for continuances and delaying this hearing. I thought she wanted to get to the discovery phase. Maybe not. Candace, we all know you don't want to go to court. That's not hard to see. Y'all, this is unbelievable. This is unfreaking believable. Oh, child. What's going on, y'all? See new people coming on in here. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. So Candace's updated court hearing is June 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can't make this up. Hey, Juju, how you doing? I see you up in here. Hope everybody's well. Did I get you, Mindy? I hope not. I hope I didn't forget you, honey. Mama Sage, what's going on? Yeah, somebody asked me if I read all my comments. It depends on how fast the chat moving. What's going on, Sifa? Did you see Candace Owens and now CK Fuentes are both in Italy right now? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen the post, but they're out here traveling and they got money to do that. But she's begging her cult members for attorney's fees. And all this time, they've been helping her pay her attorneys who are Jewish while she attacks Jews in Israel. Go figure. That karma is something else. Candace, this is absolutely ridiculous. What's going on, Dorian Gray? How you doing? What's happening? Hope all is well. Y'all, we made it to Friday. Thank God. People's up in here. What's going on? Let's see here. Bella up in here. What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? Everybody speak to everybody. Colleen up in here. Y'all, this is crazy. Oh, Lord. So another 2 months we got to wait for this heifer to, figure out what the hell she going to lie and say to the court. I just want you to lie under oath, Candace. I'm not even telling you not to lie. I'm just saying, if you're going to lie, wait till you get placed on the oath. Hey, why don't you take the stand and, answer questions in your defense? Oh, man. All right, so we're here on X.com. And the White Walker here have been traveling overseas all day. So sorry if I'm late reacting, but this is a ridiculous trend. But this is a ridiculous trend that should be edited. I did not trade racial slurs with Laura Loomer, Trump's top advisor. Is she Trump's top advisor? She is manic and throwing racial slurs, and I've been laughing at her. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What you mean? Girl, look at me. Girl, you got court Tuesday. Have your ass in court. And then they get a continuance. So she throws out slurs and laughs at, Charlie Kirk's assassination and weaponizes it for money. Somehow that's not as bad as her being called nappy-headed. And you know what's so crazy? It's this concept that we can't hold people accountable if they're in our same race. Simply because I'm a black woman, she's a black woman, I should not hold her accountable. The F you mean? She don't pay my bills. I keep telling the candy ass cult members, I don't owe your dumbass cult leader a damn thing. And I don't care how the candy asses feel. They enter my chat at their own peril. So she got money to travel the world, but she is begging for attorney's fees, wanting her cult members, because they're dumb enough to do it, to keep buying her merch, her books, paying for her book club, so that she can put money towards now more attorneys to basically reset a case, which is going to cost more money, where she claimed that she wanted to go to the discovery phase. How is that trying to get her to the discovery phase? She's avoiding going to the first hearing on her motion to dismiss. And yet the candy asses went around here talking about, oh, attorneys cost so much money, they take so much money, and blah, blah, blah. But that's exactly what she's doing. She's got to pay for these attorneys. Now you have another 2 months before you get the first hearing on this lawsuit, because they're stalling. Candace is stalling, where she's got to pay 2 additional months of attorney's fees just to get to the motion to dismiss. And the candy asses are going to give up their mortgage and rent money to make sure that Candace's attorneys are paid for. Because they're idiots. As opposed to them telling her, look, why don't you just go ahead and go to court so we can get to the discovery phase? I thought that was the goal. But they hypocritical lying asses. I thought the goal was, let's get to the discovery phase. What do you mean? Why are you pushing this back? What more needs to be said and done? Can't you just go to court and represent yourself? Because you're so smart. Candace, your co-member say you're smart enough to do it on your own. Yeah, you don't need no attorney. Go to court, Candace. Go represent yourself. They think she's Jesus. So, she could go in there and represent herself pro se. Why does she need attorneys? This is a civil matter. This is not a criminal court case. Candace, why don't you go represent yourself? You said you know the law. You said you're a better CIA investigator than anybody else. I can't believe the feds are, investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'm the best one of all. So why not go and represent yourself in the court of law for a civil matter? Why not go be pro se? Why don't you just go to court? You don't need attorneys. Go ahead and represent yourself. I want to hear Candace's legal argument on why she think the court should dismiss that lawsuit against her. Oh man, y'all, this is crazy, man. What's going on, John? What's going on, Cheryl? Cheryl says the attorney's quitting and filed for continuous was a tactic. Can you imagine a whole world leader suing you? OMG. I know, right? Y'all hit that like button. Yeah, let's not play around with that. Hit the damn like button. 2 more months. Oh, crap. I know, right? What's going on? Thank you so much, March on, for the $20 super. Hey, Miss Lady Luck. Good to see you in the Luxers. Her attorneys got to know that there's plenty of footage of Candace defaming Miss Macron. And guess what else, March on? She actually admitted it in a video as well as on X in a post. She said, I defamed them. I just did it in Tennessee. Oh, good grief. It was so stupid. Candace. Oh, Candace is an idiot. So, that's the best part about this, is that she actually admitted to defaming them. Plus, all the doubling down shows malice intent. Because, you're not going to keep making a mistake 16 times in a row, right? If you're not doubling down, what you're not doing is saying, I'm not apologizing. And I mean what I say. You're not going to say that if you're not doubling down. That's the epitome of it. And let's not forget the Macron lawsuit has a jury trial demand. So it will be a jury trial. But I don't understand why the Macron's attorney agreed to this continuance. They should have said, no, Your Honor, you need to object to this. You guys rescheduled this. Her attorneys are trying to withdraw. You got to know what's happening out here on, in the news. She's been out here berating anyone that's of Jewish faith or ethnicity or anything. from Israel. She's been attacking people, doxing people. Her cult members are sending death threats to Jewish conservatives. She's doxing Jewish donors of TPUSA. All because, she can't make the type of money that they're making over there in TPUSA. Oh, and because she's jealous of Erica Kirk. That's so clear and obvious, it's not even funny. But see, all the BS she's doing, I mean, wouldn't you just want to get to the point where this case gets on the roll if you felt like you were justified in what you said about Brigitte Macron, Candace? Then why keep asking the court for all these continuances and all these extensions for, word limits and all this other stuff? Why keep doing that? Why don't you go over your motion to dismiss on your platform, Candace? Prove to your cult members that you don't have an understanding of the law and you don't want to go to court. Yeah, no, the actions that she's putting out is the complete opposite of someone that wants to get to the discovery phase. You don't do all this if that's what you're trying to do. It's so crazy, man. Thank you, Marchon. Shout out to you, honey. I appreciate that. Super. Oh, man. Her cult members will continue to pay for these attorney's fees as opposed to telling her, yeah, no, go to court so we can get this going. I thought you had evidence on Brigitte Macron being born a man. You said it was a fact. And here you are traveling over to Italy and you can't say anything about that. Look, she even admitted it. She even said, oh, I didn't tell anybody that I was going out of town. No show today. Sorry, I thought I had announced I was traveling with my family. See you guys next week. What the hell? So you didn't even tell people you were going out of town? Oh, bye, Felicia. Oh, man. This is something else. She up here talking about UGA, TP. Oh, God. Girl. The only response she could give to Laura Loomer is get some sleep. Candace, go to court. What you talking about get some sleep? Go to court. Why are you pushing this hearing back? You got it. You smart enough to represent yourself. You think you know the law. So go to court. What is it? When I say unbelievable, this shit is unbelievable. Oh, my good Lord. Oh, Mindy tagged me into something. Hold on. Let's check this out. There's a reason why something's going on with the SPLC. Candace, are you on the FBI investigation? Candace, you're an idiot.
System to create shell companies to he doesn't lie. The charity that's supposedly.
Let me expand this out. Y'all let me know if you can hear this. Hit the phone if you can see and hear this. Candace, are you being paid by the SPLC? You know, the Southern Poverty Law Center? It's mighty ironic how you fled to Italy and you knew, let's say you did not have a continuance. You still would have had court next week, Tuesday. You could just pack up like that. So you balling like that, where you could just pack up and go to Italy. Dear Macron's attorneys, Candace Owens has enough money to be able to just on the whim pack up and go to Italy. International travel for her, 4 kids, George, and God knows whatever team she has. You know she's taking a nanny with her because she doesn't. Child, please. It's like she ain't even studying her kids. You would not sit here and obsess over someone's death for 8 months if you actually proclaim to be a good parent. You know how much time and energy she's taking away from her kids on this? Weaponize the Charlie Kirk's assassination. You can't make this up. All right, y'all, let's hear the FBI director who can't seem to open up an investigation on Candace's doxing and threatening behavior. Yeah, let's see what he has to say about this.
He doesn't lie. The charity that supposedly fought the Klan funded the Klan. The charity that supposedly fought neo-Nazis Nazis funded neo-Nazis. The Southern Poverty Law Center ran a methodical, calculated scheme to defraud their donor base of $3 million and lied to them and used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being sent to, specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society. This is the ultimate definition of hypocrisy. And if you look at the indictment produced by the Department of Justice and the FBI, you will see that these banking institutions tie directly the funding mechanisms in which the Southern Poverty Law Center used to fund at least 8 hate groups they supposedly wanted to take out, but they were paying the very villains of our society they supposedly wanted to protect us from. That's the ultimate hypocrisy. He doesn't lie.
Wait a minute, did he name Candace?
And used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being.
Candace, isn't that what you do with your LLCs? How you open up all these random LLCs, you get your cousins and your buddies, George's best friends, boyfriends, to sit here and be the principal registered agent, find an attorney to put it under, and then you move money through those LLCs. Isn't that what you do? Yeah, it's what you do. Because it's what you did when you had Blexit. When Parlor Inc. was a thing, George did the same thing. So you're using your LLCs as bank accounts, Candace. Because that's what you're doing.
Sent to specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society.
Lord have mercy. Candace. And she had nothing to say about this, I imagine. Child. This is absolutely insane. Okay, y'all, we're going to switch over. Because CFA sent me this video done by Ben Shapiro. Then we'll get to the content I've been trying to get to this week. I am going to get to it. I think the timestamp was at, what did you say? So Kaj Patel could get on it with SPLC. When is he going to go after Candace for doxing people? When is that going to happen? Child, you can't make this stuff up. Candace, you're going to get your ass caught up. Yeah, boy, you think that lawsuit from the Macrons is something. Once you get into the FBI crosshairs, that's pretty much it. You stay there. And y'all know Nick Fuentes is one of those types where he's going to rat you out if he can. He does not want to go to prison. So, Candace, while you out there hanging out with Nick Fuentes, if that's what you're doing, yeah, your ass go catch it. Because he's not going to sit here and take up for you. He'll throw you underneath the bus. He said that he was going to go drag her on the internet and do an investigation on her. And then he did nothing. That's some clown stuff. God. So this is at CFA's request for us to check out Ben Shapiro's speech he did at UPenn. Let's see here. You gave me the timestamp. She doesn't take it. She's taking more than one nanny. She doesn't know how to take care of her kids. Exactly. Miles said, Laura's not an official advisor. That's why I don't understand why she keeps saying it. It Candace, you know that's not an insult for somebody to be called a president's top advisor. You're not really being insulting with that. I mean, if Laura Loomer wanted to flip that around, she could. How's that an insult? You don't have to like what he's doing, but the idea that anyone is a top advisor to a president, how's that a bad thing? That means that Laura Loomer has the ear of the president and Candace does not. Candace, aren't you the one that sent Trump that letter when you lied about the Macrons putting out an assassination hit on you? Or said that somebody called you, some high-ranking official in the French federal government called you and said that transactions are being made through Club de Sant for your assassination? Didn't you say that? You also told Trump that. What did he do again? Y'all, he probably looked at that letter on his desk and said, what the hell is this junk mail? He was like, oh, this came from Candace Owens? Why? Why is she sending me this? Why didn't she send this to the FBI? Oh, okay, so she's not taking this seriously either. Oh, she went to Dollywood. Oh, okay, no, hell no. I'm not stunning her. Candace, you can't get the attention of the president. And that's what you really mad about. You want him to do something for you. And he doesn't owe you that. You couldn't even file a formal complaint to the feds about your so-called assassination attempt lie. How are you going to claim that a whole country president, a totally different country's president, is coming for you when they just want to sue you and you don't even want to go to court? Go figure. Candace does not even want to go to court. She doesn't even want to go to court for a civil matter. So how y'all think she's going to handle the concept that she could be connected to an FBI investigation? That girl is going to lose her damn mind. Candace, we're here for it. All right, y'all. We're going to check this out. I got the timestamps. I think the length of time on this is about 14 minutes, right, Sifa? So y'all hit the 4 where you can see in here. Let's go.
Ben Shapiro.
Please don't be copyrighted music.
Of our friend Charlie Kirk. And so I want to thank you all for coming out and being a part of it. It's really special. Thanks also, obviously, to the Adam Smith Society, to Young America's Foundation, and thanks to the Things That Matter lecture series for making this event possible. It's wonderful to be here at University of Pennsylvania, a place that now apparently recognizes that calls for genocide against Jews are bad. So congrats on that, UPenn.
I don't know, man.
It took a little while to get there, but eventually you got there. So congrats. Late last week, the president of the United States ripped into pseudo-conservative commentators Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and Alex Jones. He did so by calling them low IQ. Now, of course, the president has dropped this descriptor just a few times in the past. In this particular instance, he is not wrong. You are indeed rolling in low IQ horse shit if you believe, as Tucker Carlson does, that the president is a slave to Israel, or that Muslims believe in Jesus the same way that Christians believe in Jesus, as he said today, or that Alex Jones is a prophet, or that the chief opposition to Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro was globo homo, or that Russia is beautifully run with tremendous subways, or that Sharia law produces wonderfully clean and robust civilizations, or that Winston Churchill was the villain of World War II, or that Nick Fuentes is less evil than Ted Cruz. You are indeed wallowing in low IQ slop if you promote, as Candace Owens does, the conspiratorial trash that Erica Kirk and TPUSA and the Israeli government and Josh Hammer and everyone who isn't Tyler Robinson was involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. And that you know this because Charlie came to you in a dream. Or that Frankists are in control of America's foreign policy and also engage in ritual murder of Christians, by this she means Jews, or that Israel was founded as a haven for pedophiles, or that Brigitte Macron has testicles. I have no basis on which to assess the latter matter, but she's going to win a lawsuit against Candace Owens. And worst of all, you are preying on low IQ people when you cynically humor all of the foregoing for clicks and cash, as Megyn Kelly does. Nobody is upset with Megyn Kelly's facile, trite, hackneyed takes on Middle Eastern politics. People are upset with her absolute cowardice and annoyed by the fact that as a 55-year-old person, she cosplays courage like a clout-chasing 16-year-old girl.
Damn.
So what?
Oh, Ben. Oh, he said you got this 55-year-old human being cosplaying as a 16-year-old girl. Oh, that's such a burn. Burn. Megyn Kelly, you are an embarrassment to every bar association on earth. I cannot believe someone gave you a law degree. Where did she go to law school? Where did Megyn Kelly go to law school? The hell? Megyn Kelly, you are a knockoff wannabe Candace Owens. That's it. That's all you are. The highlight of your life at 55 years old is to pretend to be Candace Owens and nothing more. You're a joke, and no one should take you seriously. The end. Otherwise, she's not important.
Latter matter. but she's going to win a lawsuit against Candace Owens. And worst of all, you are preying on low IQ people when you cynically humor all of the foregoing for clicks and cash, as Megyn Kelly does. Nobody is upset with Megyn Kelly's facile, trite, hackneyed takes on Middle Eastern politics. People are upset with her absolute cowardice and annoyed by the fact that as a 55-year-old person, she cosplays courage like a clout-chasing 16-year-old girl. So what do all of these purveyors of low IQ rubbish have in common? What they have in common is a grievance-based view of the world in which they, and those like them, are perennial victims of the American system, in which they have been betrayed by the very ideas and institutions that make America the greatest place in world history. The attraction of low IQ ideology is envy, a belief that lack of success is somehow a reflection not of bad decision-making or the hardships of life, but of a cruel system designed by a nefarious cadre of evildoers. Envy. As Adam Smith put it, envy is, quote, that passion which views with malignant dislike the superiority of those who are really entitled to all the superiority they possess. Conspiratorial grievance politics is low IQ stuff, and it makes your life worse. Unfortunately, like a zombie infection, conspiratorial grievance politics is spreading like wildfire across the nation. Sometimes you might notice your friends acting strangely, and then they roll up their sleeves, and the zombie bite is there. Sometimes that zombie bite comes in the form of an actual hat that says low IQ on it. Available for $35 a pop at TuckerCarlsonNetwork.com. For another $26.45, by the way, you can round out your low IQ purchase order with some crappy Indian-made nicotine pouches. But there are many other signs of a low IQ infection. To spot those signs, we first must explore what it means to be a conservative and why low IQ grievance politics stands in direct opposition to high IQ conservatism. High IQ conservatism rests on four fundamental foundations: free minds, free markets, public virtue, and a properly constructed government designed to protect these first three values. So let's go through each of them. Free minds. This is based on the notion spelled out in the book of Genesis and then reiterated in the Declaration of Independence that we are made in the image of God and thus have the capacity to choose. Free minds allow for innovation, adaptation, and true moral choice. As F.A. Hayek wrote, if we are to advance, we must leave room for a continuous revision of our present conceptions and ideals, which will be necessitated by further experience. Free minds lead us to better solutions. Second, free markets. We have the right to our own labor and the products of that labor. We have the right to our own creativity and the products of that creativity. We have the right to explore, to try, to fail, and to succeed. Again, quoting Hayek, it has long been recognized that a people averse to the institution of private property is without the first element of freedom. And nobody is at liberty to attack several property and to say at the same time that he values civilization.
Yeah, can y'all imagine Ben Shapiro trying to debate Candace at this point? Like, imagine it. A debate between Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens right now. I mean, good grief. It's not even close. The fact that he is able to articulate 3-syllable words would give him the advantage. Candace, can you say reminiscent? You got videos of people creating comedy out of her inability to pronounce terms in the English language. Can you imagine her at a debate at this point? Ben Shapiro would annihilate her based on her inability to properly enunciate her words and pronounce terms correctly. He would just go down the list of all the words that she's ever said wrong. That would be the whole debate. Candace, how do you pronounce the word B-E-R-E-T? With the word green in front of it. He would obliterate this girl. That's not even getting into, intelligent points being made that may have evidence and data to back it up. No, they wouldn't be able to get past the point, the fact that she can't speak. She has the worst way of pronouncing terms. Like, she cannot pronounce simple terms that are 1 and 2 syllable words, he would be able to demolish her on that. And we all know she lies like hell. We still waiting on flight data for Egyptian planes, because reasons. And let's not forget about Mitch Snow. I mean, this guy is sitting on $145,000. Give it to him by all the candy-ass cult members who gave up their rent and mortgage money.
The history of the two cannot be disentangled.
Oh, he would crush her.
Public virtue is the third fundamental value. Any society that prizes liberty must have strong social institutions that promote individual virtue. That's how we guarantee that we don't cheat each other. By promoting virtue, we guarantee human happiness. There's a reason that Adam Smith, for all of his talk of libertarianism, was a big fan of churches as actual institutional forces in life. He may have had quarrels with the way that churches themselves acted, but the idea that church was a deep and important part of life that inculcated virtue in children, in citizens, and helped tie people together, he certainly believed in that. As he pointed out, quote, man naturally desires not only to be loved, but to be lovely, or to be that thing which is the natural and proper object of love. And the way that we actually find out who is worth loving is by hanging out with people in a place where we all have the same direct goal. It is through strong social institutions that we provide a safety net, by the way, for people who fall through the cracks. It also means that we are able to inculcate duty in those who are actually given charity and beneficence. Traditions, churches, synagogues, these are a way of encoding age-old knowledge and handing them down generation to generation. Public virtue is a hallmark of America, and it always has been. And finally, high IQ conservatives believe in the proper role of government. This means checks and balances, sufficient to protect all of the foregoing values, but also capable of action in case of threat. And this government evolved over time. It did not happen right away. It did not happen all in a moment. These are ideas that actually have centuries of roots. As Ayn Rand said, it took centuries of intellectual, philosophical development to achieve political freedom. The individual is not left at the mercy of his neighbor or his leaders. The constitutional system of checks and balances was scientifically devised to protect him from both. And it's not enough that we have a workable constitutional order in which checks and balances prevent any one branch of government from usurping our liberties. We must also have the capacity for collective defense. We must also have the ability to project power in the world, because the world is a jungle. It is not, in fact, a family of nations. It is a difficult and chaotic place in which the vacuum is filled by the strongest, and weakness will always be exploited. This is why Abraham Lincoln said in 1864 to the soldiers of the 166th Ohio Regiment, quote, it is not merely for today, but for all time to come, that we should perpetuate for our children's children this great and free government which we have enjoyed all our lives. I beg you to remember this, not merely for my sake, but for yours. The nation is worth fighting for, to secure such an inestimable jewel. Now, high IQ conservative.
Yo, this man is quoting Abraham Lincoln. Candace, spell Abraham. Candace, I'm gonna give you 2 points if you can spell Abraham. I don't think she can spell Abraham. I just want y'all to know that. She's gonna like Abraham Lincoln. What is a Lincoln? Is that a car? I didn't know cars existed when Abraham was a president. What? Candace, you're so stupid. You're easy to figure out. This girl has no idea who Abraham Lincoln is. All he has to do is ask her to define globalism, because we've all heard her butcher that definition. She does not know the difference between globalism and nationalism at all. We literally saw a video of her being in the UK. This is at the time she was working with TPUSA, sitting next to Charlie Kirk, trying to explain globalism versus nationalism, and then talked about the UK having low birth rates. Can you believe it? Candace, Ben Shapiro would ether your soul, girl. You understand? He would ether whatever's left of your soul. Careful, Ben. I don't think aliens have souls. How's Grimace Yeasty doing down there, Candace? Is he having fun in Italy?
Conservatism has a lot of play in the joints. If you have a few core values, sometimes these values come into conflict with one another.
Oh, good Lord.
And we have great discussions and debates over how these values should manifest themselves in terms of public policy. So just to take an easy example, should the value of free markets outweigh the value of public virtue when it comes to, say, drug legalization? These are very open debates inside high IQ conservative circles. And very often they come down to questions of pragmatism and efficacy and questions of rights versus duties. How do we balance the necessities of free minds and collective defense in times of war or subversion? Again, these are age-old questions, and conservatives slug them out. High IQ conservatism, because it is a set of values, doesn't foreclose arguments. It provides a basis for sound argumentation. But low IQ ideology rejects all of these central principles. Low IQ ideology says that free minds are themselves a lie, that we are all victims of a sort of Marxist false consciousness implanted in us by nefarious outside forces. You may think you support the war in Iran, but actually that idea has just been implanted in you by Mark Levin or Barry Weiss or me. You don't actually think what you think. You have been propagandized into thinking what you think. You think that you might be in favor of qualified immigrants who add to American life, joining the American bargain. Well, you're being trained that way by Elon Musk, who's lying to you and propagandizing you. You don't actually think what you think. You are a creation of systems. And again, the system is to blame and must be torn to the ground. You think America is prosperous and free? That's because you've been indoctrinated by your teachers and your parents and your moral influences to believe that. You believe that free markets are actually a good thing? That's just because you have suffered under the predations of capitalism for so long. False consciousness is the rule of the low IQ, not the idea of free minds. Low IQ grievance ideology says that free markets in particular are a boondoggle. They're a grift. Yes, despite the fact that free markets have generated more prosperity than any economic system in all of human history, all put together by leaps and bounds, the low IQ movement has declared in true Marxist style that free markets rob us of our heritage, of our identity. They rob us of our souls. They pretend that somehow centralized government and higher rates of poverty are somehow going to fill back in our souls. But the idea is that capitalism is to blame. Low IQ grievance ideology also argues that public virtue is a sham. The church that your parents sent you to, well, it's probably fundamentally broken. Either on the one hand, it's cucked, or it's intolerant. The people that we really need to emulate in the view of the low IQ grievance group are true heroes, like alleged rapist Andrew Tate, or role models like Clavicular, or people spouting new forms of Christianity that actually are old forms of non-Christianity that revive, for example, the Marcion heresy, and revel in attributing literally everything humanly possible to demons, ranging from aliens to underwater sea creatures to strange nighttime dog scratches. And finally, low IQ grievance ideology says that the Constitution is a shattered vessel, that our democracy is in fact fake, that we live in a Potemkin republic, that what we really need is a strong, centralized leader to wash away the flaws of our lives in a purifying tsunami of top-down tyrannical control. High IQ conservatism is rooted in evidence and tradition. It is rooted in basic principle and truth. It is rooted in both freedom and virtue. Low IQ grievance politics is rooted in opposition to all of those things. But it is fair to say that low IQ grievance politics seems to be increasingly winning the day. Why? Well, because envy lives in every single human heart. And the moment it finds justification and people willing to give it air, it seeks to exploit that. Every person has to fight the low IQ person inside them. We all have this part of us that wakes up in the morning and has to make the decision whether to go out and forge forth and take control of our lives and our destinies and make good decisions and look in the mirror when we have a problem, or whether we choose to tear down all of the systems that we have been given. High IQ conservatism does have the antidote to this, however. And that antidote is very simple: gratitude. Gratitude for that which we have been given. High IQ conservatism will win the day when Americans recognize the inestimable bounty that we've been given. A unique country in human history that values free minds and free markets and public virtue and a government capable of defending those values and virtues from both foreign threats and from its own overreach. The reality is that we will have a high IQ country again when we recognize that we stand on the shoulders of our parents and our grandparents, when we stand on the foundations of things that came before us, and when we realize that you can't chip away at the foundations of a republic without collapsing the entire structure. And that requires us to understand that, sure, we have to make America great again, but we also have to understand what it was that made America great in the first place. When we celebrate again the magic that is America and the hope of America, then America really will be great again. And until then, we have to fight the crazies. Thanks so much. Happy to take your questions.
Candace, that ball would obliterate you in a debate. Let me tell y'all what I was talking about. Now, I did a reaction to this. This is my video from 5 months ago. Oh, Lord. And the candy asses think I get a whole lot of money off of Candace. This video only got 197 views. So either their dumbasses are sitting here saying, oh, all you do is talk about her and she's getting you views. Or they'll say, you don't get enough views, so you're not important. None of them are smart enough to just pick one or the other. Dumb candy asses. But I talked about this 5 months ago. So we'll pull this video up where, you know, Candace is sitting here trying to talk about nationalism.
Yeah, I agree.
I want y'all to listen in closely. This is the level of intelligence that she has, okay? Candace, y'all hit the 4 if you can hear. Candace, this is why Ben Shapiro would mollywop you in a debate. Do you understand? I hope you decide to, you know, represent yourself in the Macron lawsuit. Candace, I thought you were so smart. You could just do it on your own.
I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a national socialist. But if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize.
This girl is trying to listen. Let me go back. Yeah, if you don't know, this is Charlie Kirk standing next to her. Shout out to my chaos, bro. How you doing, girl? Oh my God. I need y'all to let me know. Hit the 4 if you can hear. How you doing, my chaos, bro? Thank you for the $4.44. Oh, thank you for that $4.44 super. I appreciate that, girl. Thank you so much, girl. Oh my God. Let's play that again. Because I'm not trying to convince the candy asses that their cult leader is stupid. I'll just let her do the talking.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets,
really?
The definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a national socialist. But if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run.
Yeah, of all the examples, why this one? Of all the people she could have named, why did she use Hitler as an example? Why? As if he's the only world leader that has ever existed. Or the only leader that existed that thought he was a global leader. Because that was his goal, was to take over the world. Okay.
Well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how we could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing.
How do we get to birth rate? Is that why you and George had 4 damn kids? How did we get on the topic of birth rate? She was supposed to be talking about globalism versus nationalism. This girl is talking about is worrisome. Why do we care about the birth rates in the UK? Francisca, are you all's birth rates low there in the UK? Let me ask this before I say it. Should we be concerned and worried about the low birth rates in the UK? I mean, if we got to be worried about it, fine. Make more babies. I didn't know that was a problem. It's just because, reasons. This is Candace's response. The candy ass's dear cult leader and her trying to talk about the difference between globalism and nationalism when she could have simply given the definition of those terms and then went and sat down and had several seats. No. She wants to sit here and to try to go deeper into this explanation and uses Hitler as an example. Because the Candy Ass cult members obviously have no problem with Hitler. Okay, what you were saying, Candace?
That he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how we could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate.
Worrisome was the most difficult word that she used this entire time. Because the rest of the words that she's using, she doesn't understand the definition or the concept of it. She could have literally just looked up globalism and nationalism. Oh, it's too much like right. That involves reading.
That we're seeing in the UK is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have anything problem. I have no problems with nationalism.
You want to avoid what?
That I try to avoid.
She's trying to avoid globalism. How? Candace, if you wanted to avoid globalism, why the hell are you traveling to Italy again? Mark Chaos, did you know she was traveling internationally? She has a problem with globalism, the low birth rates in the UK, and yet she takes her little happy ass to Italy and didn't even tell her cult base. They were over there refreshing their computer screens, just having a junkie itch, wondering when is our cult leader going to come up and tell us things. They over there looking for a vein so they can shoot up with that Crackers Wick nonsense that Candace be spitting out and spewing all over the internet. Yeah, they were waiting for her to give them their daily dose of red meat. And she didn't even tell them, oh no, I'm not doing a show today. I'm in Italy. Candace.
Yeah, I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets...
Yeah, I'm sure you don't, because you can't define it. You can't make this up. Candace, you're ridiculous. I wanted you all to see that, because people thought... people thought she thinks she's so smart. But she can't define the word nationalism. Oh my God. Speaking of the Candy Ass cult members, yeah, we're doing this. So here's how they think. Okay. Shout out to Jay Witt Podcast. He posted up this video. I only got through half of it, you all. And I was rolling laughing. When I say I was laughing my ass off, I was laughing my ass off. So this is the thought process of Candy Ass cult members. People who don't read. A book is too much for them, y'all. So shout out to Jay Witt. Oh my good Lord. Y'all, we have got Ben Shapiro in. He did a great speech over there at UPenn. He basically said that Megyn Kelly is a 55-year-old woman cosplaying with a 15-year-old mindset or something. He basically said that Megyn Kelly is acting like a high school mean girl, except dumber. Because dumb and dumber. All she is a wannabe Candace Owens, except dumber. Candace is a narcissist. She has to be the smartest person in the room. So what does that say about everybody in her inner circle? I mean, it speaks volumes. They all have to be dumber than she is. That's the only way this goes. Cult leaders is like, listen, there's only one cult leader. The rest of you all are my peasants. I'm a queen up in here. Y'all just my peasants. Let them eat cake. Candace, who said that? Can you name the person that said let them eat cake? We'll wait, because she didn't nail it the first time at all. So let's dive into the mind of a Candy Ass cult member and listen to how they try to sit here and rationalize the stupidity that is Candace Owens. Let's get to it. Hit the floor where you can see in here. Let's go.
I just explained to you what do you mean?
I understand that's an alternative. I understand you have an alternative theory.
These planes operating this way.
So what's the evidence? What's the evidence
at certain times?
What's the evidence that this plane, that any of these contractors who were dropped off?
Hold on. You would like to debate? Hila said, is it Hila? Hila-Lula? What is it? Lalucard or something like that? Whatever it is. Said, I would love to debate on certain topics. Certain? So there's a limitation? Okay. Instead of name calling, Candace is a dumbass. That's how I feel about it. No one dictates what I say on my platform. I want to be clear on that. Can you name some things you don't agree with? Candace said that she obtained 2 degrees, one in journalism and one in English. And yet, she said that she dropped out of college after her 3rd year. Can you provide evidence of these 2 degrees that Candace herself stated that she obtained right now? Can you email me those degrees? Can you email me the evidence of those 2 degrees that she said she earned because Piers Morgan embarrassed the hell out of her, rightfully so, and said she's not an investigative journalist, to which she's not. So she said, I have 2 degrees. I went back to school, got 2 degrees, one in journalism, one in English. Can you provide me the evidence right now? Email me laterluckclubllc@yahoo.com. I'm not even going to wait for that one. Email me. I want to see that evidence right now. Where's the evidence of your cult leader having 2 degrees? Produce that right now. It's not even a debate on that one. Just show me the evidence. Prove us wrong where she obtained 2 degrees in journalism and English by presenting the evidence that she obtained 2 degrees in journalism and in English. Please do not make me have to break down the definition of the word evidence. It's not going to be based on what you think, contrary to popular belief. I want to see the evidence right now. Email me that. Where is the evidence of her 2 degrees? Because that's something she's lied about twice. And who in the world would lie on having 2 degrees? Why would she need to lie about that? So where's the evidence? Because the cult members don't want to even go to her and say, can you just post up the evidence of these 2 degrees? Or else, why put it out there? Either you're going to have to admit she lied or you're going to produce to me the evidence. There's no gray area with that. Produce that evidence or she lied. And you're going to have to say she lied. That's it. No debate.
Went and killed Kirk. What is that? What's your best piece of correlating evidence? What's your best piece of evidence for this? What is it?
You want me to basically provide you with the video proof that these contractors got off?
Any proof?
And walked to
any proof?
And were there and involved?
Any proof? Any? Do you have any?
Andrew, I just
any proof? Do you have any proof?
I just explained to you the argument.
No. Arguments is not proof. Those are 2 different terms with 2 different definitions. See, you can't have a debate with someone when they don't understand definitions of terms. I believe that it's definitions of terms that people are having a problem with, said Cat Williams. Yeah, he was on point when he said that on the Shannon Sharp podcast. He said, I believe that is the definitions of terms that people aren't able to understand. Yeah, it's definitely that. Your argument is not the same as evidence because you could just say some bullshit, but it's not factually based. Like, we're not willing to go to some alternate reality where you think your argument is true and factually based with no evidence. That's not how facts work. Where's the evidence of her 2 degrees? She lied. She said twice, I have 2 degrees. One in journalism, one in English. Don't make me pull the videos. She lied. That's what I want to see. You know why? Because that's what she did. See, you can sit here and worship the ground Candace walk on all day. I don't owe her that. I owe her nothing. Not one damn thing. Candace knows that. Candace, you're still bad at this, you moron. But why would she lie about something simple? So if she lied about having 2 degrees, then why is it implausible that she lied about many other things on a greater scale? Because you would think at the very least someone that's as narcissistic as she is would be proud of their education and would not need to lie about having 2 degrees. But if she lies about that, why do you think that I'm inclined to believe anything else she says, where she has produced 0 evidence? Problem with debating with me is you're going to have to understand the definition of the word evidence, facts, and proof, documentation, lie, narcissism, hypocrisy. You got to understand those terms. We all have to agree on the definitions and the concepts of those terms. Otherwise, in your world, a liar is not really a liar based on how it's defined to be. And I'm not willing to go there. It'd be a waste of mental energy. So she lied about having 2 degrees. She lied. So that means she could have lied about a whole lot more, especially on things that can be easily debunked. So getting to the point about her having sources and contacts that live in Erica Kirk's building. Why? Why does she feel the need to have sources and contacts that reside in Erica Kirk's building? I mean, never mind the constitutional right we have to live and exist in peace. What reason could Candace Owens ever conjure up to explain why she stated in a whole video that can be used against her in a court of law that she has sources and contacts inside of Erica Kirk's building, her residential building where she resides? Why would she need to even point that out? So Candace is bored, is what you're telling me. She's bored as hell. I'm still waiting on the evidence of her not having those 2 degrees.
Okay, well, let me explain to you a counter argument. What happened? Hang on. I'm going to show you. I got a counter too. I got a counter explanation for this. What happened is there is a planet full of aliens called the Yamcha, and they come down here once every 20.
Hold on. You say you have questions about Erica Kirk lies. You calling it a lie doesn't make it a lie. You have to prove she lied. So put one question. One question. Because I'm still trying to figure out exactly why Candace Owens would need sources and contacts that live in her building telling her what's going on with Erica Kirk. She admitted to stalking. You know that's illegal, right? That's illegal. No, a source isn't just a person. Why would she need to just have a source coming to her about anything going on in Erica Kirk's building? If a source is there to give her information about something, not that it's limited to a journalist, but if that be the case, why? What type of information could this person be giving to Candace Owens about Erica Kirk in her residential building, where she has the right to live and exist in peace? What kind of information could she possibly want from that? This girl has 2 minor children. Would you want, listen here, let me tell you something. Is it Gila? Would you want someone to say, I have sources and contacts that live in the same community as Gila. They tell me everything she does, every move she makes, I know when she comes and when she goes. Your first question would be, why would you need to know that? Would it not? Because you use the word logic. So let's stick with logic and what would make common sense. Why would I need to know every move you're making when it comes to where you live, when you come and go from your own home? When Charlie Kirk left his house to go for a walk. Why? Where's the video evidence of that again? Because there are cameras in that building. There's surveillance cameras in that neighborhood. Where's the video evidence? What do you mean? Charlie had a right to live in peace? Who said he didn't? I'm asking you, why would Candace Owens need to say, because you're not answering any question, why would Candace Owens need to say that she has sources and contacts that live in Erica Kirk's building? How long have these sources and contacts been there? So based on your question you just asked me, if the sources and contacts had been there prior to Charlie Kirk's death, how would that be Charlie Kirk living and existing in peace? Because then that would mean that Candace Owens has always had people watching those two, even before his assassination. Because you don't know how long she's had these so-called sources and contacts either. The question is, why does she need sources and contacts that live in this woman's building? Why would anyone need to report to Candace Owens what the hell Erica Kirk is doing from her home? You know what's so funny? If she was committing a crime, why wouldn't they just call 911? If Erica Kirk did anything illegal and anyone in that building witnessed Erica Kirk committing a crime, why wouldn't they call 911 as opposed to Candace Owens? Because Candace Owens is not a police officer. And what the hell is she going to do from Tennessee? Why would Candace Owens need any information about Erica Kirk from any source or contact that lives in her building? Make that make sense? Why would she need that? Why would she need, didn't I just say what the information is? Why would she need that information about what Erica Kirk is doing in her building? Why? Why? What use would that information do for Candace Owens? Candace Owens lives in Tennessee. She can't do shit to Erica Kirk. So why would she need sources that live in her building telling her the whereabouts of Erica Kirk? For what? That's stalking. That is the legal definition of stalking. So it's okay for Candace Owens to break laws and admit to stalking because source in journalism. Journalism should never, ever cause you to resort to breaking the law and stalking someone. That is not journalism. That is a crime. See, we got to have definitions of terms understood in order for us to have this conversation. You're not answering why Candace Owens would ever need anyone to report to her any information about Erica Kirk from any source or contact that resides in this woman's building. And then for Candace to do what with that information? Because she's not taking it to the authorities. Obviously, Erica Kirk has not broken the law. So why would a source need to give information to Candace Owens about what the hell Erica Kirk is doing at her residence? Why? Is the question. Still not answering the question. You talking about having a debate? You're not answering any question. You're answering a question with a question, which is getting stupid. Because if we can't even have you talking about logic here. If I said that I have sources that live next door to you, telling me your whereabouts when you leave your home, when you come back home, what you're doing, when you take the dog for a walk, when you take your kids out to the playground. If I have sources and contacts living next door to you telling me every little thing you're doing at your house, would that not be stalking? Do you understand what stalking is defined to be? Why would I need to know what you're doing at your home? You wanted to have a debate with me. They didn't answer the question. They answer questions with questions and they dip, dodge, duck, and deflect accountability. Why would Candace need to know what the hell Erica Kirk is doing at her house? That's not sources. She's not giving out any information that the public needs to know. No one needs to know what Erica Kirk does all day at her home when she comes and goes and all this stuff. Because what else could the sources be telling Candace Owens? These sources live in the building with Erica Kirk. What groundbreaking information is Candace relaying that the public has the right to know about what the hell Erica Kirk does at her home? That's not journalism. That's stalking. And you're trying to excuse stalking behavior, which is a crime. It's a crime. I hope Erica Kirk gets a protection order. You ain't answering anything. You answering a question with a question. You said, what if someone's who came to her? It doesn't mean they had a previous relationship. What the hell does a relationship got to do with someone watching Erica Kirk leave her building, come and go, and then somehow giving information to Candace Owens? Yeah, Erica Kirk left her house today at 3:54 p.m. She went out. She took the kids for a walk, came back at 5:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then she went back out, checked her mailbox, went back in the house. That was all 30 seconds. And then she came out again at 8:06 p.m., walked the dog, came back at 8:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why would anyone need to know that? Why would anyone need to know that? You're not answering any questions. Why would anyone need to know that? That's a very logical, straightforward question. Why would you need to know what she's doing from her home? And you're saying Erica Kirk lied doesn't mean you've proven she's lied about anything. But Candace Owens lied about having 2 degrees. And you can't say she lied about that. So as opposed to you saying Candace lied about that, you're saying, no, there's no evidence. But when it comes to Erica Kirk, you're saying she lied, and you haven't given me one lie with documentation and evidence. I could care less how you all want to have an opinion of her, because that's on you. You want Erica Kirk to live rent-free in your head 24/7? That's on you. But Candace Owens actually lied about having 2 degrees, and you can't say she lied. You can't say why Candace Owens would need to know what's going on with Erica Kirk at her house. Why would she have sources and direct contacts living in her building, stalking her? Why would Candace Owens condone criminal behavior? There's no logic to that. No matter how you put it, it's stupid. Let's get back to the mind of all these candy asses that think like
years so that they can hunt. And there was.
Let me go back.
I just explained to you what do you mean?
I understand that's an alternative. I understand you have an alternative theory.
Planes operating this way.
What's the evidence? What's the evidence
at certain times?
What's the evidence that this plane, that any of these contractors who were dropped off went and killed Kirk? What is it? Right. What's your best piece of correlating evidence? What's your best piece of evidence for this? What is it?
You want me to basically provide you with the video proof that these contractors got off?
Any proof?
And walk
any
proof and were there
any
involved.
Proof.
Any proof?
You know, because they don't know what evidence means. They can't define the word. Candy asses don't read, anything. They just go on what she says and they repeat her talking points. It's the hive mentality. Why do you all think I tell the candy asses this all the time? I'm not here to convince you of anything. If you want to bow down and worship the ground that Candace walks on and you too afraid and too cowardly and spineless to call her a liar, then that's on you. She lied. And yet you can sit here and say Erica Kirk lied over and over and over again, but you can't say what she lied about and provide evidence. But you don't want to say Candace Owens lied about having 2 degrees? Oh no, because the candy ass is they're gonna tell on you. She's gonna be audited and reported it to her code leader.
Any? Do you have any?
None.
Andrew, I just
any proof? Do you have any?
Yes, no,
proof?
They don't.
I just explained to you the argument.
Okay. Well, let me explain to you a counter argument. What happened? Hang on. I'm going to show you. I got a counter too. I got a counter explanation for this.
Because they want to debate you with no evidence because they can't define the word. And then they get mad when you remind them of how stupid their argument is. We're not going to your alternate reality to try to understand this dumb nonsense you're talking about. Either you have a basis of logic and understanding on simple definitions of terms, or you don't. You're telling me that it's okay for Candace to perpetuate stalking, a crime, and yet you keep talking about Erica Kirk lied. How does that justify Candace Owens stalking Erica Kirk? I wish I was somebody tell me that they got sources and contacts living in my neighborhood, watching me. I'm getting a protection order, a restraining order, and then I'm going to have your ass locked the fuck up. What do you mean? We don't do that. Journalists don't have to stalk anybody. The devil is a liar, and so is any other candy ass cult member that thinks that it's justifiable to stalk someone, especially someone that has 2 minor children. And then they want to call that journalism. But they can't, that cowardly asses can't say that Candace Owens lied about having 2 degrees, knowing there's no evidence of that. Candace Owens understands lying by omission. You think she would teach her cult members that? Candace, you need to go over lying by omission to your cult so they can understand when you're doing it. I know you're a narcissist. You'll never admit when you're wrong or when you're committing a crime. But when you're out here admitting that you're having this woman stalked, I don't give a damn what Erica Kirk has said. You cannot downplay the fact that Candace Owens admitted to behaving and participating in criminal activity. Stalking is illegal. As a matter of fact, in the state of Arizona, it is a felony. Either class 3 or class 5. It's a felony. And this dumb moron admitted that she has sources and contacts that live in her building, telling her every little thing that Erica Kirk is doing at her house. As if Candace Owens needs to know that. And the candy asses think that shit is cute. They think that's okay. Oh no, it's called journalism. Because they can't define the word journalism either. Good journalists don't have to perpetuate criminal activity. They don't have to break the law. They don't have to lie about having 2 degrees. They don't have to stalk anybody. And yet and still, what does all that stalking get you? Because Erica Kirk is not in jail for anything, so she hasn't broken the law or committed a crime. So what's the point of that? Candace Owens is just now telling us that she has sources and contacts that live in Erica Kirk's building. It doesn't mean that they weren't always there. She could have had Charlie and Erica Kirk stalked for years. And the only people who know are the ones that live in the building. And Candace. And God. And they say Christ is king. How is Christ king when you're breaking the law? When you're willfully and intentionally participating in stalking behavior? How is Christ king in that? Yeah, okay. Jesus is going to get enough of that hypocrisy.
What happened is there is a planet full of aliens called the Yamcha, and they come down here once every 20 years so that they can hunt. And there was a commando named Dutch who took one of these out. I have it on good authority, by the way, that Dutch, man, it was a hell of a fight, but Dutch did take out one of these Yamcha. These type of predator vessels, let's call them, can cloak. And what happened is one flew down and it actually, one of these Yamcha jumped off of that vessel. It was also cloaked. And it used a specific type of dart which dissolves and shot it into Charlie Kirk's throat. And he began to gag and he died a horrible death. And then he beamed back up to the ship and he flew off. Tell me, what evidence would you demand from me to prove that that was true?
Well, I mean, you're describing things that would defy the laws of physics. So I would say that argument seems highly unlikely.
Well, wait, what evidence would you demand
the
from me?
And natural laws of the world that we live in, I would say that would be extremely unlikely.
Oh, okay. So, but what evidence would you want from me? Let's say the physics were proven. What evidence would you require from me to prove that that claim is true? What would you want from me? What would it be?
Well, I mean, I guess I would say that I would need to see more of the circumstantial evidence that surrounds the whole thing.
No. Because he doesn't know what circumstantial evidence is. What about just the base evidence of it all? Why circumstantial? Well, I don't think he knows what circumstantial is. See, they use words they can't define and they want to have a damn debate. This clown does not know what circumstantial evidence is. You can't make this up. Instead of him saying, well, I would just need some direct evidence. No, he said circumstantial. What the hell? Oh, because we read here in the Lady Luck Club, circumstantial evidence is a type of evidence that relies on inference to connect it to a conclusion of fact. Unlike direct evidence, which supports the truth of an assertion without needing additional evidence. Where's the direct evidence? Why would he not want direct evidence? He wants circumstantial evidence. He just wants to be able to infer something. Oh, y'all, this is how candy asses think. Oh my God. Oh, this is too good. Y'all, where is Nick Brooks when you need him? Oh, man. Oh, this is too good. Instead of him getting direct evidence, no, he wants circumstantial evidence that relies on inference. Basically, when you infer something, like an implication to the candy asses, to the people in the back that don't understand words. Oh, this is epic. You can't make this out. Circumstantial evidence requires reasoning or inference to prove a fact, as opposed to just having direct evidence that's based on facts and documentation. Oh, God. They make it so easy to clown their asses because they're so stupid. Y'all, can we give it up for the damn Predator 1 comic characters here? We got Predator over here. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger. And oh man, this Predator is epic. Oh, this Predator is so badass. I might clip this and make it a thumbnail. Candace. Your cult members are not that smart, girl. Should we expect them to be? They have to be dumber. Keep this in mind. I keep telling you all this. This is how cults operate. The cult leader has to be the smartest person in the room because they are the narcissist. Candace is a narcissist. She must be the smartest person in the room. She can't have her cult followers being smarter than her. That's not how it works in a cult. So, of course, he's dumber than Candace. Oh, man. It's the Predator. Hit the floor if you can hear.
Like, I can't say that your made up fantasy scenario.
What makes it made up? Wait, what makes it made up? I have an anonymous source who witnessed the Yamcha jumping off of the Predator aircraft. Okay, anonymous. I can't reveal the source because it's anonymous, but it jumped off of the aircraft, uncloaked for just a second, shot the dart, and then it jumped back on the aircraft and away it flew. I have it on good authority from my anonymous source. Why is that story not true? Well, what about it's not true?
There's video evidence of the event, and we know that nobody swooped down and did that. So obviously,
he was cloaked, dude. Happen. He was cloaked. He only uncloaked.
An invisibility robe.
Like the Yamcha are known for being able to cloak. So he cloaked, he jumped off, he uncloaked for just a second, enough for this eyewitness to see him shoot the dart from his shoulder cannon, and then he recloaked, jumped back on the Predator vessel, and away he went. I have it on good authority from this eyewitness. Why is he wrong?
Again, I would think that you're probably pretty naive for believing something like that.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
Oh, because it sounds kind of like made up and there's no good evidence for it.
See, the thing is, though, is that in at least this alternative theory that I am going to remain open-minded to, I'm not going to close myself off to any theory, and I'm certainly not.
No, your theories don't work in court. The judge does not give a damn about your theory. Not even a little bit. He doesn't even care that you exist, boy. The jury will not give a damn about your theory either. The only way your theory is concerning is if it taints the jury. Otherwise, no. When you're not smart enough to define circumstantial evidence, I do not want you to have your opinion impressed upon a jury in a murder trial. You're not smart enough for them to care about your opinion. If you can't even define circumstantial evidence, Lord have mercy.
I'm not going to turn around and diagnose
my God.
anybody as mentally ill or crazy or as some bad actor for doing everything that they can to turn over every stone to find out what the truth is.
But can you tell me
how I believe Candace Owens?
I understand, but can you tell me what evidence based on the fact I have an anonymous source that saw this, what evidence do you want from me to demonstrate? Because you just seem to dismiss my theory out of hand because you didn't feel like you had very much evidence. What evidentiary standard would you like to use for me to prove my alternative theory? Why aren't you open-minded to it?
Thank you.
How come?
Because they can't define the word hypocrisy.
There were plenty of video cameras around the event and how the event played out.
And all of them showed Tyler James Robinson being the murderer. So they've seen something else in all these videos where, you know, the average human being here on Earth did not see, because Candace is an alien. So this alien cult leader is telling them, no, everything else is cloaked out. You can't see. Of course, you don't see George on top of the roof laying next to Tyler James Robinson because he was under the cloaking device. You know, like in the Predator.
Did not align with anything that you had said in your scenario.
What part didn't align with it?
That
the video cameras did not show every angle of every part of that event. That's ridiculous.
Oh, there were videos of the sky, and we saw where
it's cloaked, dude.
It's cloaked. It was this video evidence of the sky. There was video evidence of Tyler James Robinson climbing down the side of a wall too, but you know, whatever. George was there. Did you know that? George Farmer was landing right next to Tyler James Robinson. He was cloaked.
It's cloaked. The ship is cloaked, and why are you dismissing this? I don't understand. I have an eyewitness. And I think that this is what happened. Why are you dismissing it?
Because I feel like you're exaggerating. I feel like you're not acting in good faith necessarily.
How is that bad faith? This is my theory.
You're taking something that could very well, we both know, happened in reality. And
this happened in reality.
And you're comparing it to, some type of, Harry Potter fantasy.
How is it a Harry Potter fantasy? Again, the Yamcha have been noted to be able to cloak. They come from a planet which is very high temperature. They visit here often. And what they do is they hunt people. There was a famous incident with a Dutch commando, or with a commando named Dutch, who tangled with one of these fucking things in the middle of a southeastern jungle. Not kidding. Okay. And it could cloak. And it killed his entire team. And it was just him at the end. And unfortunately, he had to deal with this problem. The thing is like, so we have evidence of the Yamcha. We have evidence of their cloaking abilities. We have evidence of all of this. Tell me why my theory, what evidence do you want from me for this theory? What more could you want? There's an I have an anonymous source. We know that the cameras weren't pointed in every direction. We know that this predator cloaking technology exists. We know for sure that we have dealt in Southeast Asia with one of these things before. So what do you want? What do you want for evidence from me? What would the standard be?
You have an eyewitness with regard to this?
Yeah, an anonymous. I'm not going to reveal my source because they're anonymous, but I have an eyewitness.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you know what? As an open-minded individual, I would take that into consideration then.
Oh, perfect.
And I certainly wouldn't turn around and consider you a lunatic or a crazy person for bringing a perspective and a theory.
Perspectives are irrelevant in the court of law when you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. That means that you can't even just go based on circumstantial evidence in a murder trial either. But because this idiot refused to look up the definition and concept of circumstantial evidence, he probably will never know that. Murder trials cannot be 100% based on circumstantial evidence. Nope. Cannot. Because when you're inferring something, you're inferring it based on a set of facts. Where's the direct evidence? Is the question. Direct evidence that is factually based.
Towards that, if we pursued further and we continue to peel the layers back on it, could end up true. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that there are certain theories that haven't been put out there by individuals who you would say on either side who I think have come out in bad faith and have done, I think, damage to people who are asking and want to know the legitimate truth and questions about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to sit.
Candace has doxed people. She's stalking Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk is on the verge of suing her and hopefully and prayerfully getting a protection/restraining order against Candace Owens. Oh, and Candace Owens trusted Sloppy Joe Kent, who was formerly employed by the feds, CIA, FBI, pick one, both, don't care. And she trusted him and he gave her information, which means that she was feeding the candy ass cult members fed slop the whole time, coming from Sloppy Joe Kent. If he worked for the feds, why would you trust him? You're not obligated to trust Joe Kent. For what? He could be, just grifting as well. He could be lying like hell. Where's his direct evidence? And yet it's still, Mitch Snow told on Candace Owens. Did she ever debunk Mitch Snow? Do you all recall Candace Owens saying that Mitch Snow lied about her trusting Joe Kent? Because I don't. Candace Owens never came out and called Mitch Snow a liar. She never said, nope, he's lying. Because she doesn't have a problem using the term. But she knows she can't call Mitch Snow a liar when he said she trusts Joe Kent, someone who worked for the feds, and gave her information that she in turn gave to her cult members, which means they were being fed the fed slop the entire time. All because they have a hive mentality. They don't understand simple definitions of terms. And they're spineless and cowards when it comes to asking questions or calling Candace a liar. Still waiting on the evidence of those 2 degrees.
Here and say that I don't see some of these accounts online.
Look, I'm actually fine if that's a standard, it's pretty consistent. If you're unwilling to rule out my Yamcha theory, I don't know why you're laughing. I think that you haven't provided any standard of evidence that you would demand from me. You just said that you actually would cede that this is a viable theory. The Yamcha theory is a viable theory, and you're not going to dismiss it or call me a crazy person. So I think that that's at least consistent. Look, I'm going to say one thing for you and on your behalf. You seem like a nice enough kid, right? And you're willing to have your worldview challenged, and that alone takes balls. The thing is like it takes guts to at least defend the position. And so I'm going to give credit where credit's due. You're willing to at least have some of the most adamant opposition who is good and skilled at putting out their worldview on so that you can have debates with them about this. That in and of itself is deserving of respect. But I just want to point out that you're one of the few on.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do the respect thing. Because if you cannot at least show that you understand definitions of terms and concepts that you're utilizing in your so-called argument, then we cannot have a debate, because that means we won't even agree to what evidence is defined to be, or stalking, or laws, or illegal, or journalism. If we can't agree to the definition of those terms, how can we have a debate where you're utilizing all these terms you don't understand? He used circumstantial evidence, and he has no idea what that is. None. That is the evidence he basically spewed out there that he would require to see. Circumstantial, not direct. We're talking about a murder trial where it's the prosecutor's job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Tyler James Robinson knowingly, willfully, and intentionally carried out the murder against Charlie Kirk. And this clown is talking about circumstantial evidence, something that the entire murder trial cannot be based upon. His theories are irrelevant in the court of law. No one cares. Facts do not care about your feelings. And as opposed to him saying, I would just need direct evidence on that, no, he goes to circumstantial, where it's an inference, because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So how can we have a debate? How can we truly say we've had a debate if you don't even know what you're talking about? Make it make sense?
On your side who will do that, and that there's a reason for that. And the reason is because these correlate claims, when they're in front of large audiences and they're pressed against, they fall apart, man. And so I would just want you to take one thing away from this conversation, right? Just one thing. It's good to have an open mind, right? But don't let it be so open that your brain falls out, okay? Like, you do have to make sure always that you have good evidentiary standards for the things that you claim, because you want to have integrity as a journalist, right? That's what you're...
Right, exactly. And Candace is not a journalist. She's a blogger and a gossiper. That's it. We've already heard her take on globalism versus nationalism. The average person would agree that Candace is an idiot. When she can't define the words globalism or nationalism, I don't expect her to be able to understand the complexities of a murder trial going on in a court of law. This boy said circumstantial evidence. Okay. Circumstantial evidence is that should not be the premise to where you build up a murder trial case. And because he doesn't know that, yeah, he's just going to throw that word out because it sounds good.
You're doing like your own form of journalism.
Child.
So, just like have integrity with that. And that's missing from new media. It was missing from old media. And I hope to see a reemergence in new media. It's like, and the second it's pressed against, we find that there's just nothing supporting it. It's just a house of sand. It's it's a glass window. You throw a rock and it breaks quick. So, that's the one thing I want you to take away from this. I don't hate you. I don't have any issues with you. I have nothing but goodwill. I hope you make $1 billion and get a zillion subscribers. But, just be fair on this, and don't let yourself get sucked into the trivialities of correlates that make no sense and arguments that aren't logical, or you'll find yourself very quickly on the other end of absolute destruction by a person like me, because we do that. Some of us do. Like, that's all I do. That's all I think about is arguments all day long. I think about the logic of a thing. I think about why they think this way. Why is it that when we move from A, we get to Z? Why is it we shouldn't use fallacious argumentation or fallacious thinking? That's all I think about every day, all day long. So it's like, if you do that, if you focus on doing that, man, you'll be unstoppable. That's all I'm saying to you.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Oh, man, that was epic. Oh, man. Shout out to Jay Witt, my brother in Christ. Y'all, we got to do it. Nicholas put up a new video where the judge toss out this defamation case. I'm so excited. And seeing that, the court hearing has been pushed back to June 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll just, keep going hammering in on that. Candace, stop stalling with this damn lawsuit. Stop stalling. Go to court. The candy asses want to see you get to the discovery phase. Oh, man. Like this one here. You're so unintelligent. It's appalling. A law. Yeah, and yet still, you don't know how to use punctuation. You can't make this up. You're so unintelligent. It's appalling. That's all they have. Because these two big words he put in that statement, he can't define. Appalling is not a term you can define. Where's your punctuation? Isn't there supposed to be a period at the end? God. Okay, hold on. You said do the Trump video. I didn't know it was a video. I thought it was a post. Is it on YouTube? That's fine. You sent me a post. It wasn't a video. I got a post from you, but not a video link. Send me the video link if you don't mind. Meanwhile, let's you tagged it on. Let's do this one first and then we'll get to X. All right. So let's check out Nicholas's breakdown. He is an attorney, a bar licensed attorney. Candace, why don't you just go represent yourself? That'll be awesome to see. And then make sure it's live stream so we can all see that. Shout out to Nicholas Brooks. Let's get to it. Hit the 4 where you can hit. Let's go. Oh, he coming up, honey. I'm so proud of him.
You already know the headline. Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron sued Candace Owens. But the real story now is what the Delaware judge does with her motion to dismiss on April 28th. This video is both a recap and a preview. If you've been following this lawsuit on the channel, you already know the basic story. If you're new to this, I'll give you just enough background so you're not lost. What I want to do today is walk through the key filings as exhibits, the amended complaint, the motion to dismiss and strike, the opposition, and the reply, and preview what is actually at stake at that Delaware hearing. We're going to hit the highlights, what the Macrons say Owens did, what Owens is asking the judge to do with this motion, how the Macrons answer that, and why I think at least some of these defamation claims are likely to survive and move into discovery. For the first exhibit, we have the amended complaint filed by Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte Macron as plaintiffs. Obviously, as you can see, it's against Candace Owens LLC, and George Tom Inc., which is a company owned by her husband. And then as well, you can see here, there's a jury trial demanded by Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron, and the case number is N25C-07-194-SKR, filed in the Superior Court of the State of Delaware. Moving down to paragraphs 1 and 2, this is where the Macrons really set the stage early. It says, in March 2024, Candace Owens, a right-wing podcaster, told the world she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, is in fact a man. Since then, Owens has used this false statement to promote her independent platform, gain notoriety, and make money. Owens disregarded all credible evidence proving her claim in favor of platforming known conspiracy theorists and proven defamers. And rather than engage with the president and Ms. Macron's attempts to set the record straight, Owens mocked them and used them as additional fodder for her frenzied fan base. And then moving down to paragraph 2, you can see Owens did not stop there, retaliating against the Macrons for the audacity of sending her a retraction demand. Owens helmed an 8-part podcast series entitled Becoming Bridget, the series, and accompanying X post. Throughout the series, Owens and her entities, Candace Owens LLC and Georgetown Inc., endorsed, repeated, and published a series of verifiably false and devastating lies about the Macrons on which this complaint is based. These outlandish, defamatory, and far-fetched fictions, including that Miss Macron was born a man, stole another person's identity, and transitioned to become Brigitte. Miss Macron and President Macron are blood relatives committing incest. President Macron was chosen to be the president of France as part of the CIA-operated MKUltra program or a similar mind control program. And Miss Macron and President Macron are committing forgery, fraud, and abuses of power to conceal the.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? She's talking about a CIA-controlled thing. Why would our Central Intelligence Agency in the United States of America care about who becomes president in France again? Why would our CIA care about who becomes president in France? Why would we care again?
Secrets. On the basic background, the pleading gives a straightforward biography. Emmanuel Macron is described as a French citizen who has been president since 2017 after serving in senior government and working at Rothschild. And Brigitte Macron is described as a French citizen and a woman born Brigitte Tronneau in Amiens in 1953. Excuse my French. The youngest of 6 children from a chocolate-making family, a former teacher, and the mother of 3 children from her first marriage, who married Emmanuel in 2007. Jumping down to paragraphs 11 and 12, this is where the Macrons argue that Delaware is the proper state for Candace Owens and her business entity and her husband's business entity to be held accountable. And here's why. Defendant Candace Owens is a citizen of the United States and resident and domiciliary of the state of Tennessee. Through her marriage to George Thomas Stahl Farmer, a British citizen, Owens also holds British citizenship. Owens is considered a political commentator and is a self-described conservative. Owens hosts a podcast called Candace, which is published on Owens' X account by Candace Owens LLC, on CandaceOwens.com by Georgetown Inc., and across various other platforms. Owens is a member and the sole manager of defendant Candace Owens LLC. Owens maintains control of defendant Georgetown Inc. And then scrolling down to paragraph 12, this is where it provides that defendant Candace Owens LLC is a limited liability company organized under the laws of the state of Delaware with its headquarters in Nashville, Tennessee. Candace Owens is the sole manager of Candace Owens LLC. The company manages Owens' Facebook and X accounts as previously described in paragraph 11, and Owens oversees and directs all content published on her social media accounts. She disseminated her false and defamatory statements through Candace Owens LLC. Candace Owens LLC is a pass-through entity named after Owens, which is solely controlled and managed by her. It is the legal entity through which Owens operates and manages her social media accounts. Owens has primary control over the management of Candace Owens LLC. And for all those reasons, this is why the Macrons are arguing that the Delaware is the proper place for Owens and her business entities to be held accountable. Jumping down to paragraph 41, I also thought this was worthy of note. It provides that in September 2024, a French court held that Ray and Roy defamed Ms. Macron. Ray and Roy were previously established characters, the journalists, for spreading false rumors that Ms. Macron was born Jean-Michel Tronneau and later stole the identity of Brigitte Tronneau. The defamation suit in France confirmed that Ray's and Roy's claims that all documents related to Ms. Macron's birth, marriage, divorce, and childbearing were forged to conceal her actual sex were false. Jean-Michel participated in the trial. Ray and Roy were fined 500 whatever currency that is and ordered to pay 8,000 of whatever currency that is to Miss Macron and 5,000 of whatever to her brother in civil damages. So procedurally, here's where we are. The Macrons filed a complaint and then a first amended complaint. Candace and her companies filed an opening brief in support of a combined motion to dismiss and to strike that amended complaint. The Macrons filed an opposition, and the defense filed a reply. So the next big step is a Delaware Supreme Court hearing on that motion, currently set for April 28th. One quick timing note, especially for my California viewers. Delaware Superior Court does not issue public tentative rulings the way California trial courts do. So there's no written preview telling you how the judge is leaning. The judge will hear oral argument, may ask questions, and can either rule from the bench or take the motion under submission and issue a written decision later, which means April 28th is an important inflection point, but not necessarily the day we get a ruling. So as you can see here, we've opened up defendants' opening brief in support of their motion to dismiss and to strike the first amended complaint. As you can see, defendants are Candace Owens LLC, and George Tom Inc., which Candace Owens is alleged to control fully. And here's the table of contents, which basically outlines the moving documents for Candace Owens. And on Candace Owens' side, her motion asks the Delaware judge for 4 things. First, she says the court has no personal jurisdiction over her as an individual because she's a Tennessee resident who doesn't live, own property, or directly do business in Delaware. And then the Macrones can't use Delaware's manager consent or long arm statutes to pull her in just because she owns Delaware business entities. Obviously, the Macrones have an opposition to that argument, which they raise, and we'll discuss a little bit later. Second, Candace argues the first amended complaint should be stricken because it adds a lot of post-filing allegations without permission under Rule 15 and tries to use later conduct to retroactively prove actual malice for earlier statements. Obviously, that's not completely spelled out on this outline, but that's where Candace gets into where she says the FAC should be stricken. Third, Candace leans on Delaware's borrowing statute and says defamation arises where the plaintiff's reputations are centered, which for a French president and spouse is France. So the court should borrow France's 3-month defamation deadline, which would essentially shorten the statute of limitations and potentially lead to dismissal of the case. And fourth, Candace asked Delaware to dismiss on forum nonconvenience grounds, arguing this is really a Tennessee and France case with no meaningful connection to Delaware beyond the incorporation of 2 business entities. And now here's plaintiff's opposition to defendant's motion to dismiss. And this was brought by the Macrones in opposition to the previous motion that we saw. And so jumping down to the table of contents, because this is really going to illustrate in a visual way all of the different arguments throughout this entire oppositional memorandum. But here, the Macrones answer those same 4 points in their opposition brought by Candace Owens. On jurisdiction, they say Owens LLC and George Tom are undisputedly Delaware entities and argue the court also has personal jurisdiction over Candace under Delaware's long arm and manager consent statutes because she manages and controls those entities, used them to publish and monetize the Becoming Brigitte series, and directed that content and those products into Delaware. And you can see a lot of this spelled out in section A and B here. If you pause the video and then, go through 1 through 5, or the numerical order there. And as you can see,
you let the Candace tell it. Candace is smart enough to represent herself because she knows laws. Candace, just go to court. You can just make all these arguments and provide your defense by yourself, right? I thought you were smart enough to do this. Yeah, all X is blowing up about Candace being out the country.
Under Section 3, on the amended complaint, the Macrones argue they properly amended under Rule 15 to add detail and some later conduct flowing from the same core events. Point out that defendants, them, concede the new jurisdictional allegations are fine and say the court can simply decide later on how to treat post-filing statements instead of striking the entire pleading. On timeliness, they argue the borrowing statute doesn't fit a U.S. defamation case against a U.S. podcaster using Delaware and Tennessee as her base, and that even if the court applied it, it would point to Tennessee's limitation period, not France's 3-month window, leaving their claims timely. And here in Section 5 and forum nonconvenience, the Macrones remind the court that dismissal is drastic relief requiring overwhelming hardship, and argue Candace cannot show that when she voluntarily chose Delaware as the legal home for the entities that distributed her content. So Delaware has a real interest, and this is not some random forum.
Candace, you chose to register your damn LLC in the state of Delaware. No one told you to do that. Why was it not Tennessee to begin with? You brought this on yourself, girl. But Candace is smart enough to go and represent herself, right? Because she's a genius to her cult. Go ahead and go to court, Candace. Go represent yourself pro se, girl.
With no connection to the case. And truthfully, just as a side note, for forum nonconvenience for the bar, I always thought of this forum is not convenient. God. However, I do think this forum is pretty convenient for Candace Owens. I don't think there's a problem with her, commuting to Delaware in order to be at the hearings for this case as she's required. And I don't think that there would be undue prejudice in the process where this occurred. And here's defendants' report.
Candace can drop money on an international trip at the drop of a hat, because she didn't even tell her own cult members that she was leaving the country. That means it may not have even been planned. Could have been something they just decided to do within the last 2 to 3 days. Candace found out her attorneys want to quit. She probably called and said, hey, y'all want to go out of town? Let's go to Italy. Let's go meet the Pope. We got to get the hell out of here. And that's what they did. That means, Candace, you have money to be able to catch a flight, go out of town to an entirely different country, and be there for at least one night. You're not disenfranchised by the least bit. Not at all. You can drop money on international traveling. And you say you're out of town with your family. What does that involve or pertain? If George is still in the U.S., you're not out of town with your family.
Reply brief in support of their motion to dismiss
Where's
and to strike
George
the first amended complaint. And this document was filed in reply to the Macron's opposition brief. And when we scroll down, I really want to focus on this introduction because this really reveals how Candace Owens sees the case. So in the reply, Candace's team basically says the opposition doesn't cure anything. The introduction calls this a contrived defamation suit that tries to muzzle an American journalist, then restates the same 4 grounds for dismissal. No valid statutory or constitutional basis for jurisdiction over Owens' personal.
Because they didn't cite anything valid. I mean, they just said, well, Your Honor, she's a podcaster. She should say whatever she wants. And we don't care about the damage that's being caused to the Macrons. We just don't. We don't care that she's taking away her motherhood. She said that woman did not give birth 3 times. Yeah, we don't care about that.
An impermissible amended complaint that adds post-filing facts in violation of Rule 15, claims that are time-barred once you apply Delaware's borrowing statute and France's 3-month statute of limitations period, and a bad forum choice under the cryo-made, which is a case factor that they say imposes overwhelming hardship on the defendants. And that they argue that the court should dismiss this with prejudice, plaintiff's amended complaint for those 4 reasons. So that's the procedural chessboard the judge will have on April 28th. 1 motion pulling 4 levers, an opposition pushing back on each, and a reply insisting the answers fall short. To get a sense of whether the court is likely to end this on a clean technicality or let it continue, you also have to look at what the amended complaint says about the speech itself and how it tries to plead actual malice. Transitioning back to the amended complaint.
We
on
know
the
that.
speech, the amended complaint is not abstract. For example, in paragraph 108, it alleges that on January 31st, 2025, Candace and her companies premiered an 8-part Becoming Brigitte series with an introduction, 6 chapters, and an epilogue on CandaceOwens.com and major podcast platforms. And that across those episodes, she repeats the same core accusations that Brigitte, born a man, stole another person's identity to become Brigitte, and that she and Emmanuel are blood relatives engaged in incest, that Emmanuel's presidency is tied to MK Ultra style mind control experiments, and that the couple is committing forgery, fraud, and abuses of power to hide those supposed facts. In paragraphs 111 through 113 of the amended complaint, it focuses on how Candace presents, these allegations in the introduction of this series. It says Candace tells viewers that the Macrons are surrounded by a syndicate of real power, old money power, claims that every journalist that tries to touch this story has had something happen to them, and uses journalist Isabella Ferreira as an example, saying she was investigating the relationship, found huge information, and was later found dead under circumstances she questions, while promising that by the end of the series, viewers would not believe Brigitte is a woman, all of which the Macrons frame as presenting these claims as factual revelations about identity and misconduct, not just opinion. And as you can see, as we go through here, there's a bunch of quotes made. The introduction sets the tone for the series. There's these quotes of pedophilia, pedastry, incest, lies, and trying to thug people via courts, and real power, and old money power. And now, for purposes of establishing actual malice, it's important to show what the Macrons are doing here in this part of the amended complaint. So as you can see, starting in paragraph 73, it says that every time Owens faced consequences for repeating these outrageous allegations, she refused to take responsibility and instead cast herself as the victim and blamed.
Yeah, because that's, when it comes to that malice intent, boy, it's showing that you had a reckless disregard of the truth, something that her cult members are all too familiar with, especially when they don't know how to use terms like circumstantial evidence in its proper context, or logic, or facts, or laws, or stalking. None of that. They just kind of gloss over those things.
And others. And then going down to paragraph 74, it says the Macrons, through their counsel, sent a detailed retraction demand letter to Owens via email on December 3rd, 2024. And really, it goes on to say that Owens then repeatedly ignored multiple additional attempts by the Macrons to engage. The Macrons sent a follow-up email on December 18th, 2024, which went unanswered. And on January 8th, 2025, the Macrons contacted Owens' former legal counsel to facilitate communication, but received no response. Next, the Macrons attempted to personally serve the December retraction demand on January 9th, 2025, but were first ignored, then blocked by Owens' counsel, who ultimately agreed to accept service on Candace Owens' behalf via email. Then paragraphs 104 through 107 then describe how Candace Owens allegedly publicly reacted to this retraction demand. The Macrons say that Candace went on her show, talked about the Macrons having a dark side, told the Isabella Ferreira story as an example of journalists who begin to suffer when they investigate, suggested the suicide ruling was highly questionable, told her audience the December letter did not deny that Brigitte is trans or explicitly say she was born a biological woman, and dared the Macrons to sue her, saying she would file the lawsuit for them and might even cover their fees, before sending a written response that reaffirmed her claims without offering supporting evidence, which they present as classic reckless disregard for the truth. The motion to dismiss, in turn, leans on the First Amendment to blunt any argument by the Macrons. Candace's team portrays her as an investigative commentator, offering opinions and theories about a powerful political couple, stresses that she often uses belief language like, I believe, and in my view, and argues that under U.S. doctrine, even sharp conspiratorial speech about public figures can be protected when a reasonable listener would treat it as opinion, speculation, or rhetorical overstatement instead of literal, verifiable fact. Putting all this together, here's where I land. On the procedural side, such as jurisdiction, striking the amended complaint, borrowing statute, forum nonconvenience, I think the Macrons have the stronger position at this early stage on these issues because Delaware has real connections through the entities Candace chose. And striking the entire amended complaint feels like a reach when the court can just police later conduct. Importing France's 3-month defamation deadline to knock out a U.S. case against a U.S. podcaster is aggressive too. And calling Delaware an overwhelmingly inconvenient forum when the defendants themselves pick Delaware as their corporate home is a tough sell. On the merit side, if you accept the pleaded facts as true the way the court has to on a motion to dismiss, the amended complaint looks like a classic, detailed, public figure defamation pleading. Specific statements that read like factual accusations about identity, serious wrongdoing, and a journalist's death, plus a plausible actual malice story built around retraction letters, contrary evidence, and Candace allegedly doubling down. So my best guess is that the Delaware judge will deny the motion in significant part and let at least some of these claims move into discovery. There are two levers that could still make me wrong. One is the borrowing statute. If the judge leans hard into the idea that this is essentially a French defamation claim in Delaware clothing and decides to import France's 3-month limitations period, that could knock out more of the case than I think it should. The other is personal jurisdiction over Candace individually. The court could keep the Delaware entities in and grant the motion only as to her personally, especially if it reads the manager consent statute narrowly and focuses on certain limits on general jurisdiction. And then there's the political theater behind all this. Obviously, Emmanuel Macron has defended his wife, and in addition, the president of the United States via Truth Social has stepped in to provide his comments. He's actually cited Candace Owens, and in this long wall of text, he goes on to say that Candace Owens is, quote, crazy, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Legally, those comments should have no effect. Delaware judges are supposed to decide motions based on the record and the law, not what political leaders say online. But realistically, it's remarkable that a state court defamation case in Wilmington, Delaware, is being talked about by a sitting head of state and a sitting U.S. president. And I'd be surprised if the judge isn't at least aware that whatever they do here will be read far outside Delaware. So my bottom line is this. I think the Macrons probably win this round. I expect the Delaware court to keep jurisdiction over the entities, reject the most aggressive libel tourism and forum nonconvenience arguments, and find that at least some of the defamation counts and actual malice allegations are strong enough to survive into discovery, even if the judge trims around the edges. But we'll see after the April 28th hearing, and however long it takes for a written ruling, whether the court ends this on a clean procedural technicality or lets the drama continue into a much more evidence-heavy phase. So if you were the judge in this case, would you toss this as libel tourism and overreach by foreign plaintiffs? Or would you keep the case in Delaware and let a jury eventually decide whether the Becoming Brigitte series crossed the line from protected commentary into actionable defamation? Thank you very much for watching this video.
Hey, Candace, you should want the jury, shouldn't you? Girl, you should want that jury, shouldn't you? I'm just saying. Why don't you go represent yourself, Candace? Your cult members are there with you. They said you're so smart. They say you're so smart. You can do it, girl. Y'all, I got to show y'all something before we get to X. I have to show you all this. I have to show you all what happened before we go over to X. I got to show you all this. When I say, oh man, this is the best part of my day. Hold on. Let me go towards the end. I got to show you all this. Oh. All right. Y'all, look who it is. My lovely, lovely army. Y'all know what happened? I caught his live stream. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Y'all ready? And I left a chat, a comment in his live. And here's what happened. Y'all ready?
Fire. I think that's nice. What's this here? Hey, Ami, I'm a huge fan. Would love to have you in the Lady Luck Club. Oh, hey. I think I've seen some.
Yo, I caught Ami's live. Oh, yes. Oh my God, y'all. I was able to catch Ami live. Tell him, hey, I need you to come over here, honey. Come to mama. Oh, I am a huge fan. Y'all know that. Every time he drops a new video, we are on it. Oh, he's so funny. And I caught his live. It was almost at the end. Y'all see, this is like around the 35-minute mark. What is this? Is that 35 or 39-minute mark? Yep, 39-minute mark. I mean, when I say I barely made it. Oh, I feel so good. See, to all the weirdos that say you don't talk about anything else. Oh, I talk about a lot more. And we're so blessed here in the LLC. We've had some fantastic guests on our show, from Nick Brooks to Joshua Carr to Milk Bar TV. Hopefully, Ami soon. Y'all.
Your streams. Appreciate that. Yeah, let's do it. You know, DM me on Instagram at Ami Kozak, Ami Kozak Official. Send me a message and we'll make something happen. I believe people have sent me your stuff reacting in your live stream, so that's a lot of fun. Guys,
oh, y'all know I did already, right? Ami Mama sent you a message, honey. Check your emails, girl. Check your emails, baby. He liked it, y'all. Oh, look. I sent them a message over there on Instagram, and he gave me a heart. Seen 2 hours ago, so we're just waiting on him to respond. Oh, that's going to be epic. I'm so happy, y'all. That made my day. Okay. Candace, where the hell you at? Candace trying to lead the country and hide out, girl? You think the Pope wants you over there wreaking havoc in the Vatican? Candace, bring your ass back home. Oh man, y'all, I'm so excited. So we did reach out to Ami, and we hit him up over there on Instagram, waiting on him to respond. And hopefully he does. Thank you all for sending him my information, my videos and stuff. He knows I call him my boyfriend, honey. I want to attack you, Ami. Mama love you. I want you to come up and hang out with us, though. That'll be fun. Yo, what is this? What is it? Isn't there a video that goes with this? Y'all, isn't there video that go with this? Is there a video? Am I missing it? Candace. Oh my God, Candace. From Donald J. Trump, Candace Owens' stock, which was never very high, has fallen a long way. Her attack on the First Lady of France is despicable. I believe, in this case, without verification, she is an extremely low IQ individual. That's his way of saying, in my opinion, without verification. Yeah, in his opinion, she's a very low IQ individual. Oh, man, if he said this about her, he ought to meet her cult members. Candace, where the hell are you? Let me go. Why is she just left the country? She didn't tell nobody. Candace, how dare you? Oh my God. Did Claire Patriot say something about this? I don't know if I'm putting that in right. Candace, girl, you won't believe who just popped up in Italy. Remember Aubrey Leach, the ex-TPUSA employee we all suspected leaked to Candace Owens? Fired, drops a 12-minute takedown video blasting the whole operation, then ends up featured on Candace's podcast. And now she's there too? What in the world is going on in Italy? Candace, what the hell are you doing? Like, leaving the country doesn't spare you from anything. No show today. Sorry, I thought I told you guys I was going to Europe to close my SPLC offshore account. Anyway, see you guys next week. Oh, Lord. Candace, you had court next week. You better be glad that judge pushed it back to June 22nd. You clown. What is she doing in Italy? The Pope is not in the mood. You don't think he watches YouTube, Candace? You don't think the Pope watches YouTube? He's going to be like, you tried to speak on behalf of all Catholics. I don't appreciate that. Leave my name out your mouth when you speak, girl. Because she had people signing letters, writing letters, saying that she needed to be excommunicated from the church. Y'all remember that? I want to see if I can find it. Someone wrote a letter. I think it was a journalist who's also Catholic that wrote a letter saying, Candace Owens, here's why she needs to be excommunicated from the Catholic Church. Y'all remember that? Hit the phone. You recall? We went over it too. We went over the letter. You all recall a journalist sending a letter saying that Candace Owens should be excommunicated from the church. Here's why. And she tried to present herself as if she's the spokesperson for Catholicism. And then you go out here to Italy, think that you're going to get next to the Pope, and he does not know what you've been saying and doing this whole time? Especially when there's a letter circulating recommending for you to be excommunicated from the church, from the Catholic Church. Didn't she say that she had not been baptized or something? God. Candace, did you get baptized yet? How did that go? Nick Fuentes is there too. Good grief. What are they doing? What is going to Italy going to do for you, Candace? What is it going to do? Yo, this is unbelievable. Oh, Candace. I didn't see a video link for the post. Did anybody read the cover? It's hilarious. Did anyone see I thought that was it, right? The post we just pulled up. Did either of you send me a video link? Didn't you all say it was a quick video? Either way, y'all, this is something else. Candace. Oh, Lord, Candace. Candace, Vile Person of the Year, Time Magazine. Fax Me. Y'all, Fax Me is awesome. Okay. Facts Me is absolutely fantastic, honey. He's giving us a lot of laughs. Candace, you you clown. Leaving the country does not solve anything. It just doesn't. And the Pope is not in the mood. He watches YouTube. He knows what's going on. He has, the Vatican is like his own city state. They got their own, investigators. They have people who are paying attention to what's happening on social media. I mean, as far as intelligence, the Vatican has one of the top superior intelligence on earth. One of the top superior intelligence on earth. They have the ability to get information you would not think about. Like, wait, why do you need to know what I did in the 5th grade again? What you mean you knew about that sock hop I went to? That's how in depth and detailed they are. The last thing you want to do when you can't hold water is to go to the Vatican and think you're going to get over on their investigators. That's not how that works. Candace, they will F you up. There's no video? Okay. She was supposed to be confirmed on Easter. Exactly. The Vatican does not play that. They're not going to let her come out there and get on their nerve. Y'all, it's got Candace Owens, lies, uses rich white men. 0% fact check ratio on all credible fact checking sites. Protects Candace does. Andrew Tate, Andrew Wiseman. Everybody named Andrew. George's allegation, because that's never been addressed. Candace, you're the worst. You can't make this up. She's traveling overseas and didn't tell anyone, just like her broken foot. Candace, you gonna tell us how you broke your foot? Oh man, y'all, that's something else. We got one last video I wanted to end out on. Child, that post is all that I need to see. Oh man. Speaking of Fax Me, Fax Me is hilarious. He also plays the instrument and sings pretty well. I enjoy his music. Is there something else I'm missing on X while I'm over here? Y'all let me know before I leave. Go back to YouTube. Oh, Lord have mercy. Candace, this is priceless. Oh, you precious, precious yeast infection. Candace, you tried to sell this to a court of law about black mold in your apartment. Talking about, I had to get LASIK surgery and had a recurrent yeast infection, stuck with it for 7 months while you failed to pay rent. The Candy asks, is y'all cool with y'all cult leader not paying rent for 7 months? Y'all think it's okay to live somewhere and not pay rent for 7 months? I thought Candace believed in pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. This heifer lived somewhere for 7 months and didn't want to pay rent. This is the photo she took for the court. Candace, don't get mad at us for using this document, this court document, an exhibit that you tried to submit to the court as proof that you had a yeast infection, LASIK surgery, a rash, hive breakout from black mold in an apartment you chose to live in. Black mold she created, by the way. This is the photo she sent to the court as an exhibit for a damn lawsuit she lost. Candace, turns out you're not as smart as your cult members want everybody to think. She lost that lawsuit. Candace lost that lawsuit. She left because she got lured. Baking a loaf. Oh, man. Cephas ass files. Candace nonstop says they think we're stupid, but that is what she thinks about us. Fuentes as well. Yeah, Fuentes, he kind of, missed the opportunity where he said he was going to be doing his own investigation into her. He wasn't going to do a damn thing. He did nothing. Run his mouth. I did more going over Brexit tax documents than he did. Child. Can't make this up. She was living with Ryan when she dumped him after 7 years for George. Explains why there was no romance. She belonged to another man. I would love to have Ryan on the LLC and give him an interview. That would be something else. Anyone can get in touch with him. I'm not saying to dox him. I just wanted to get his information, or you can send him my email. If anyone knows who this Ryan person is, please send him my email so he can reach out to me. I would love to set up an interview with him. 7 years is a long time to be with somebody. And then you go and just accept an engagement from somebody from 18 days of knowing them. That goes to show how ruthless Candace is. It's all about the money for her. Oh, you can't afford me. George can. Bye. But George is giving you a lavender marriage. So you're not happy. Y'all, she was talking about the low birth rates in the UK. Is that why they had 4 kids? Because she didn't understand the definition of nationalism. You can't make this up. Oh, Candace, you're an idiot. And Nick Fuentes could have went in on her. He didn't even have to do anything challenging. And it would have been just as entertaining. Oh, God. Exclusive. I work with the police. Candace Owens thing. Oh, we got to see this. I've been holding off you all from watching this as well. Shout out to all of you guys that are tuning in. Hit the like button. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. This has been absolutely fun. You all know there's more to come. Okay. Both sides went live. I want to check out his video. Josh Carr dropped the new video. Artie Trolls, Story Box. I mean, we got so much to dive into. Candace is not going to let any of this stuff up when she comes back. Plus, her court date has been pushed back to June 22nd of this year at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after lunch. It seems like that hearing is going to be relatively short because judges don't like to kind of fall into time when it's time to go home. So if it starts at 1 p.m., more than likely they're giving maybe an hour or so for each side to present legal argument for the motion to dismiss. And then probably we'll hear the motion on the withdrawal unless he just grants the motion, which I'm still expecting to be uploaded. The notice does not suffice the actual motion itself. The attorneys must file a motion to dismiss. Motion to withdraw. In order for that to be put on record, they have to file a motion to withdraw as counsel. So it was not uploaded when we checked earlier. I will be checking again tomorrow. Just to see if it may have posted up or was uploaded after 5, which is rare, but that could happen. But if not, then I should expect to see the motion to withdraw as counsel on Monday, and it will have all the attorneys named in that motion. So whether it's just one or all 3 of them or 4, whatever, how many ever she had in her legal team, they will have their names outlined. And then, of course, while Candace is somewhere in Italy, she should be looking for an attorney unless she represented herself. That'd be epic. Candace, we're here for it. Oh, man. Yeah, so this is going to be the last one we check out here. Shout out to Fax Me. Hit the 4 where you all can see it here. Let's go.
Activists, I want you to see this first. I have literally been spending all day today in my studio working with the police, and I'm going to release this. I want you all to check it out. And for some people, this is going to really sting.
Every breath you take and every move you make, every time I take, every time I'm fake, you'll be watching me. Actually, every single day, and every word I say, every clip I I play, it's a lie I made. You'll be watching me. Oh, can't you see? Charlie belongs to me. Now my husband's gay, married, money, and fame. Every clip I play is only fake and gay. I'm completely fake. Every claim I make is for Erica. Since she's gone, I got rich using Charlie's name. I dream at night, I can only see his face. I look around, but it's Erica I blame. I'm so bold and I lie about the case. I keep crying, Charlie, 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 please. Every lie I speak, my grammar is weak. I'm black, not white, turning point is right. You'll be watching me.
Wait a minute. Oh my God. Y'all.
Activists, I want.
He ended up faking gay. Oh, thanks me. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, I got to do a collab with him, man. Oh, that was good. Oh, that's good. Candace, you're the new American Psycho. You can make this up. Candace, if it was not a matter of us moving forward with that lawsuit, I would say that Italy can have your ass and not to return you. If it were up to me and you were not being sued. But you have stalked on that lawsuit long enough. Damn it, you need to go to court. That's the only reason why I want you to bring your ass back here so you can go to court. Otherwise, stay over there. We don't care. She's all yours, Italy. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. That was funny as hell. Back to me, you are a riot. I love it. That was so much fun. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. Hit the like button. Make sure you hype this video when it's done. Shout out to March On for the $20 super and My Chaos Brew. Fantastic content creator. If I could get My Chaos Brew's YouTube channel link in the chat as well. My Chaos Brew, next time you come, you're a mod girl. Just drop your YouTube channel link. You don't even have to ask. So we can show you some love and support. But you guys go check out My Chaos Brew. She can sing too. She is a very good singer. Singer, creator. And she also does like comic book like animation videos. I love it. She has one where I told her, girl, you could turn that into a Saturday cartoon lineup and make a killer. When I say make a killer, that girl will get millions of views. Just talent overload. So shout out to My Chaos Brew. Make sure you guys go check out, show us some love. Thank you so much for coming in and showing us some support. There you go. Y'all hit up My Chaos Brew's YouTube channel link and get to court. He did file. Yes, he did. He filed the notice to withdraw. That was docketed. And we saw the continuance docketed today for the court hearing to be pushed back to June 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we still have to see the motion to withdraw. Hopefully will be docketed by Monday because the motion has to be filed and the order has to be granted, which if the judge granted a continuance, more than likely he's probably already decided to grant the motion to withdraw. And she's going to have to get a whole new attorney, a whole new legal defense. They're going to have to come up with something else so they can go along with what the other attorneys wrote up and try to make an argument out of that. But, typically the attorneys will read over it and then they'll try to configure it in their own words so they can be able to make the argument, even if they still stick with the reasons or the justifications for the dismissal, which I don't think the judge is going to do. I don't think the judge is going to dismiss it. I think the judge is going to let that case proceed forward. And it's what Candace wanted. She wants to go to the discovery phase. So Candace, stop running and hiding from this court hearing. You wanted to go to the discovery phase, which granted. The end. So it's nice to see the feedback from Nick Brooks, another attorney, actual attorney. And then hopefully any other attorney that covers this will check it out, because I do like to get the attorney's perspective on this. They went to law school. I didn't. It's always nice to see and hear what they have to say about it. But so far, Nick Brooks, in his opinion, believes that the judge will dismiss the motion and allow the case to proceed forward. And that's what Candace wants. So there you go. All right. Y'all, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Y'all tune in, if you can, tomorrow for our watch party of Panda Press on Umar Johnson. And it's almost 3 hours. But he's a fantastic content creator. And we're going to set up a live stream on Tiffany Henyard, because WGN is on it, and so are we. So if you can, tune into that. If not, I will see you all in the next one. Till then, Lady Let Club out. Deuces.